Going to go through how you guys need to build a bike out of a box. This is shipped from Amazon. It's pretty much put together. We just basically got to put it back together. Certain items had to be taken off just to fit in the box. So just things like handlebars, wheel, pedals, seats, saddles, look like that. Then we got to go through the shifting, go through the braking, do a bolt safety check, and then a test ride. Pretty much you're all through. Simple as that. Let's get started. All right, this is a bit of a rush job. What's up, Bagheera? Where's your booty? So, using scissors, wire cutters, or razor blade to open up this box. Going to keep the box so we can throw all the garbage back into it and then dispose of it. So, sorry, can't play ball now. You're stepping on my cord. So, first thing I like to do, if possible, probably take the whole bike out as a unit. It's all put together with zip ties. The wheels are zip tied to the frame and all that stuff. So pull it as a unit, lay it down, find the seat post, grease the seat post, install it into the bike. Then we can put it into the work stand. Hopefully you guys have a nice repair stand. Definitely a #1, your best friend tool. I got a box of pedals, reflectors, got a seat post. Check the box very good, make sure there's no more parts. Don't throw your box until your bike is complete and finished, test ridden and approved. Gonna use some Park Tool grease right here. Just a little bit on the seat post, not a whole lot. Smooth that around, just a few inches on it, don't need to go too high. And then we're gonna be a little more liberal on the inside of the frame in the seat tube area. Go as far as you can. I got a little brush that goes inside there. This way when you put your seat post in, it's going to slide that grease all the way down. And then we don't have a lot of buildup at the top of the seat post, creating a mess. Before you know it, you track grease all over the place. This is going to require, I'm going to use a 3-way. It's a Park Tool Y tool or 3-way tool. Make sure that bolt's loose. Leave yourself quite a bit of space there to stick it on your repair stand. I got the newer style repair head, so it has pretty narrow head, so doesn't need a whole lot of space, but gives me some room to slide the bike up or down. All right, definitely want to make sure your seat collar is tight enough by hand. This is nice enough to tell us it needs 8 Newton meters, so get a torque wrench, torque it up if you need to, just so you know what's going on. It's not too loose. Definitely don't want to have this too loose, because if this is too loose, and the bike may fall. Now we can go ahead and start dismantling. You can see there's a lot of stuff. We got some zip ties, cardboards, a lot of tape. So got your wire cutters to get your zip ties. Whatever you start clipping, make sure you know what's going on, because if it's a wheel, it's going to hit the ground. It's 2. And they wedge it on here onto the crank, so just slide it off very gently off that crank arm so you don't bend any spokes. And we got some cardboard the kids can play with. Got a wire sticking up here. Don't watch out if you don't want to get your eyeballs. And the handlebars are zip tied to the frame. Cut that off. So the wiring should be all hooked up here as far as the cables and housings. If you're going to let something hang, just make sure it's not kinking the cable too badly. If it is, just get another zip tie or a piece of tape and hang it somewhere else until you're ready for it. Like I said, you're throwing all your trash away so you don't make a big mess. Here we got now we start getting into some of the tape, either scissors or if you're using a razor blade, be very careful you don't scratch your paint. So some of these stems come with a tiny black little rubber cap. All that is going inside this top bolt, and it's just more cosmetic, so not necessary. I'm going to put that on the side. If I remember to put it on, great. If not, it will survive. So it looks like they got some plastic on the inside of the derailleur cage, which is really weird. But that can be removed. Maybe it's just for noise purposes while traveling. Never seen that before. And slide off for protection. There's a plastic piece that's wedged on the front fork. You can just knock that out. Slide off our protection off the fork legs. And we got some more protection on the handlebars. Got a plastic cap here. It's actually wedged between the wheel and the cassette. That's just a protector for the side of the wheels there. Just like this guy here. Plastic protection, pops right off. Another plastic cap, pops right off. Garbage. That's just protection during, well, it's in the cardboard box. So brakes are always going to be facing forward. Right now the brakes are backwards, they're behind the bike, so you got to turn your bars. Check your wiring. Right now the cable and housing are not hooked up for the front brake. We have a shifter. One is on one side. Make sure these aren't getting too twisted. Have them come out nice and straight. And then we got our handlebar. Make sure all your lines have all your cable and brake lines, they're not twisted too much. They each have their nice straight line. They might cross and touch each other once, maybe twice, but shouldn't be more than that. So I got shifter on this side, nice straight line, shifter, brake line coming in here. So I got 4 bolts for my stem. We're going to take those off. They're already loose, so here's where you can have a variety of tools. So this is a T-handle, 5mm. Using the ball end right now. It's great when the bolts are already loose. You can speed unscrew or unscrew these bolts. Basically makes the job faster. There's some pre-lube, pre-grease in there. And sometimes it's not the greatest grease or enough grease, so you can throw a little more on there if need be. Again, we use the Park tool. It's the PPL Polylube 1000. This is a good multi-purpose. So basic rule of thumb, wherever there's threads, go ahead and throw some grease on there. Grease is going to help you get a better torque setting. Think of it as lubrication. So your bolt's going to tighten better and also stop it from getting stuck in there if we get stuck in the rain, and cut down on any potential squeaking or creaking. So I'm going to grab one bolt and a face plate, stick it through there. Make sure my bars are not twisted up. If you have to, turn different directions to see what's the best line. This one looks pretty decent. In the middle of these bars, there's some lines that are made from the factory. That's basically, it's going to be gription. So when we tighten up this face plate, it has something to grab rather than smooth metal. So when we tighten up, it's going to grip it better and hold the bar in place. Get that second bolt. So I put a bolt in one side, then went diagonal, put a bolt on the other side. Sorry we're not getting any good camera shots here, but like I said, I'm on a time crunch. This bike will be picked up at 11:30 and it is now 10:59. And last bolt. So right now, everything is just going on finger tight. We're still fairly loose. Got them started. So I'm going to go back here with my ball end and do another speed turn. We're going to do diagonal, one in one corner. I'm going to go to the opposite corner, tighten that one up. Don't go too tight yet. Now you can start, once those bolts get a little bit tighter, get some clampage on there, we can now bring the handlebars up. We're just doing an eyeball at this point, get it fairly centered. You can look on this side, make sure no lines are showing, or equal lines are showing on both sides. So it doesn't have to be perfect right now, just get it in the ballpark, what looks good. And then we will, once we get wheels on it, we'll bring it to the ground and we can do a final adjustment. So, and when you put these caps on, the face plates, you're going to have a gap on the top and an equal distant gap on the bottom. We don't want one side touching and the other side not touching. That's just going to put too much pressure. Sounds like my wife's home. Dog got excited. Okay, get these bolts snug enough. That way the bar's not moving around. Doesn't have to be super tight, just to get them in a decent spot.